I mean, Riley Cooper, I mean, like, that dude deserves a statue. I mean, like,
number one on your speed dial.
Hey, I'll tell you what, like, I mean, I didn't know until a couple days after the fact. I was like, wait a minute, is he the MVP or like we got the all-tournament team?
No doubt about it.
And then Ty Floyd, when I struck out 17, and like stole it from him. But I was like, when has a pitcher like been a part of like 5 of the 6 wins in Omaha? I mean, what a performance!
Coach, it's great to meet you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you for the time.
Pleasure.
Yes, sir.
Starting a little late, boys, at the spring game, obviously, as you can see. A couple of booze cruises here to do. Let's fit. Cruise. Grand salami to the boys. Finally back on track. And I got another one coming. Don't you think I don't? And that's how we roll in Tiger Stadium.
Just watching the spring games that were on television, one thing that jumped out about your squad is your quarterback room is very talented compared to a lot of the league and a lot of the country. I wonder, is it easier to recruit that position when you have talent or when you don't have talent? Coach Kelly, we're official.
Finally,
I'm
get a
telling
chance to meet you. Thought I had to get a private audience with the Pope. There's Jordy.
Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. Yeah, you see the notification, we about to go live. We got all your favorite guests, we got them in line. It's the Jordy Culotta Show, come have a good time.
Tearing up, answering the question, I thought, my God, if Chica is offered this job, she's going to take it.
It's just a crazy, fun time at LSU right now. Isn't this what everybody loves?
From the boot to the east to the west coast, no matter where we live, open up the phone lines, come and join the show. Make sure you tell your friends about Jordy Culotta Show, yeah.
Let's go! Let's go!
All right.
Big start. Big day.
Nice start.
It's the Jordy Culotta Show, come have a good time.
Coach, it's great to meet you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you for the time. Welcome into a Thursday edition live here from our Click Here Digital Studios and brought to you daily by RMB Builders. It's the Jordy Culotta Show live on this Thursday. We got a jam-packed show for you. Looking forward to today's show as we will have a couple of guests in-house with us, including Gordon McKernan. The G Squad will be here in full force this morning as it is a great day to talk to Gordon McKernan. It's always a good day to talk to G, but he'll be through here talking a little NIL. Obviously, LSU in the news right now. I cannot believe the story that we're going to have to lead with. I thought it was an absolute joke when it came through last night from Wilson Alexander over at NOLA.com and The Advocate talking about Maason Smith having to miss Game 1 versus Florida State for a 2021 transgression that the NCAA has deemed out of line. I mean, I cannot believe that we have to talk about this today. We're going to talk about it a lot. Wilson Alexander is going to be here with us at 7:30 this morning. He's going to be live on video, and as always, our phone line is brought to you by Southern Regional Medical Center. Our friends over there with Charlie Harvey and Jason Ramazan doing great work. Of course, Mr. Fun's Travel. You can find BJ, Charlie Harvey, and Jason Ramazan and the crew at Southern Regional Medical Center. Real doctors, real solutions, daily our phone line. So Wilson Alexander is going to be here at 7:30, and we'll talk about the news that he broke yesterday on Maason Smith. Chris Blair is going to be here at in the 8 o'clock hour. Looking forward to getting Blair in here and kind of getting revved up for football season. We'll start to talk to the voice about what he's seeing and some of the things that he's experienced in this offseason, getting ready for another call on the microphone of LSU football. And then at 8 a.m., as we said, Gordon's going to be through here, and we will talk to Gordon about everything, right? Just kind of NIL, what he's got going on. Of course, the podcast that he's got, Grubbing with G. We'll talk to him about some of the content that he's putting out. He's bringing his guy, Taylor O'Brien, over here, who we've worked with in the past, so it should be cool. He does a lot of work with Click Here. So looking forward to talking about his partnership and what it means in digital marketing. Lots of stuff to get to. Of course, we appreciate you being here with us and starting the day off with us. Make sure and hit that like button, share button, comment button, and subscribe if you have not done so. We appreciate that. I cannot believe that we are talking about Maason Smith missing the opening game because of something that happened 2 years ago, and the NCAA is stepping in on this. I cannot get over what I was reading yesterday. I mean, I had to text Wilson and say, "Are you serious on this?" I'm like, "Is this a joke?" No, man, this is real. Maason Smith is not going to play against Florida State because the NCAA suspended him after finding out he received an improper benefit 2 years ago. He'll miss the first game. He'll be able to return against Grambling in week 2. He cooperated with the investigation, but ultimately he's going to have to miss the first matchup of the season. Like, by no means am I telling anybody how to run business, and I'm probably not the guy that should be in the position to be making decisions on this, because it's emotional, you're tied close to it, and really it's more about the NCAA than it is LSU. The fact that you have to still deal with this organization after everything that they have been exploited for over the last 3 years is an absolute crime. It's a crime to Maason Smith. It's a crime to LSU. It's a crime to college football. It's a crime to the fan base of the entire sport, that you're having to take one of the best players in college football off of the field because of something that this broken organization has deemed a impermissible benefit. Define what that means to me. What that means. NCAA, they couldn't even give you the definition if you put them on the spot. If you had them on a witness stand. If you told them to define it, they couldn't give it back to you. Improper benefit for Maason Smith because he was signing an autograph and getting paid for it on something that now is legal. Like, this is an absolute joke. I know it can happen just because you got to run business day to day. And I thought Michigan was going to do this. When Michigan and Harbaugh just told the NCAA, it's right here. Come get it. We're not abiding by your suspension. We're not listening to what you have to say. We're not sitting down and talking to you. Because if we don't, what? What happens? What are you going to do? You got no subpoena power. Nobody in the federal government's aligned with you. You're just an organization walking around trying to intimidate people, bully people. You can't play. What? I'm playing. Like, play him. Sit him against Grambling. I guarantee you the way that Michigan handled it, they chose the 3 games that they suspended Harbaugh for. While they did say, the NCAA, we're not playing your game, but they did suspend Harbaugh in-house. They suspended him for the first 3 games of the season. Who do they play the first 3 games of the season? Parkview, U-High, and Episcopal? I mean, right, they don't play anybody for the first 3 games of the season. They chose that. Okay, you got him on an impermissible benefit 2 years ago. He's sitting against Grambling. He's playing against Florida State. I'm not the one to be making the choice, and there's probably going to be fallout if that happens. If so, I would live with it. And start to exploit this organization that is fraudulent. They're fake. What ground do you have to stand on? I mean, I got B-roll of the Supreme Court dressing them down, telling them that in every single country in the world, this is illegal. I mean, like, what are you doing? This is broken. And now, after legislation has deemed that you can pay college athletes, you can pay them for their name, their image, their likeness. So if you wanted Maason Smith to show up to your business and sign an autograph, hell yeah, you can pay him. That happened 2 years ago, and now he's got to miss one of the biggest games on the schedule? Get the hell out of here. He's playing. I cannot believe it was going too good, really. I mean, like, thinking about it. I mean, it was going too smooth, man. It was going, one fight in camp. A fight in camp, we took 30 minutes. People are crusading in the chat because we're talking about a fight on the field. What else you want us to talk about? Everything else is going smooth. People are going to class. People are showing up on time. Everybody went to their workouts. People are competing on the field. They got a really good team. They're getting geared up for Florida State. And 10 days out, you take the best player off the field because of something he did in 2021? For now that something's that is legal? Like, play him. Play him. Sit him against Grambling. And tell him, what? What are you going to... You think the NCAA is going to tell LSU football you can't play in the playoff? I mean, what power? What grounds? How? How can they come in and tell in 2023, no, Maason Smith can't play? Sorry. What do you mean? Well, him and Kayshawn were signing autographs in 2021, and it was an impermissible benefit. Like, hey, man, get the bleep out of here right now before I beat your ass. Like, seriously, take your suit, your tie, your pin pocket, and get the hell out of here. I mean, are you kidding? Taking Maason Smith off the field against Florida State for something he did in 2021 that's now legal in an organization that's broke? How? Seriously, how? I mean, like, how? How does that happen? It's like, I mean, really, I know Woodward he's tight with the NCAA. Forget Emmert. People respect Woodward at every level of power within the structure of college sports. Ain't nobody talking shit about Scott Woodward. And if they are, it's because they're jealous. If he picked up the phone and was like, hey, man, say what? How? How do you think you have the power to deem one of our top players ineligible for one of the biggest games on the schedule for something he did 2 years ago that's now legal? Who made this decision? Put them on the phone. I mean, like, this is a joke. This is a joke. Like, I was laughing and pointing at Michigan thinking, man, that's awesome how they're handling it. Now that LSU's in the fire, are you kidding me? I mean, well, it's not a big deal. Are you out of your mind? Somebody texted me like, is it that big of a deal? I mean, he's one of the best players in the country. Coming off of an injury, motivated in a game he was hurt in last season. You think he's ready to play? And just because he signed an autograph in 2021 for something that is now legal, a broken organization can come in and say, you know what? Yeah, he can't play the first game. For what? Well, 2 years ago when he got to college, he took money for what was deemed a inappropriate benefit. You're kidding, right? You're kidding. I cannot get over that this is even happening. Like, when I read this yesterday from Wilson Alexander, I swear I texted him and said, you gotta be, this has to be a joke. This feels like 2019, this feels like 2018. In 2023, I'm still reading where the NCAA can take a player off the field for getting paid for signing autographs? We're 2.5 years into this stuff. I mean, NIL's been on the books for over 2 years now, and they still have the authority to retroactively tell somebody that they broke a rule that has now been deemed by the federal government, by the Supreme Court. I mean, the Supreme Court had Emmert sitting in front of their face, and they were, it was amazing the way they were dressing him. I mean, it was way past disrespect. I mean, like, nobody was respecting him while he was sitting there. I mean, at that point, I kind of thought, like, okay, the jig is up. Like, I mean, like, it's finally been sniffed out. Like, the whole country is seeing, it's on display. Like, the business model is a sham. I mean, you're running college athletes out there and making billions off their sweat, and then coming back and saying, well, he can't play because he signed an autograph and got, how much you think Maason Smith made from signing that autograph? Was the number put out, Stewie? I'm guessing $500 tops. Tops. And I'm being kind. This is 2021 where people are still playing under the table? Is this before NIL? So people are still kind of giving you an envelope full of cash? That's still happening today, by the way. Even with NIL, people are cheating their ass off. And the NCAA still feels like they can come back and tell Maason Smith because he signed an autograph 2 years ago and collected maybe $500 on a kid that if they do just a bit, just a little bit of research on, because they've already made millions off of him. You know what I mean? How many zero jerseys are they going to scoop up? Are they going to sell this year? Right? Still making money off the kid. But yet the kid collects maybe, and this, I'm just speculating, I don't even know. I'm just saying $500, and they want to come back and bust his balls and tell him he can't play? Like, get out of here. Like, pack your stuff, take your old white man mentality with your suit and your pin pocket and all these people behind you that you think are relevant and give a damn, and get the hell out of here. Like, rather than the NCAA feeling like they can make an example out of a school, a player, a university, a program, like, when's it going to be the player university program? Make an example out of them. Michigan football, LSU football. You think people are going to mess with that brand? You think people are going to side with the NCAA if Michigan football and LSU football said, hey, we're not playing. We're not playing your game. Maason Smith's starting against Florida State, and Jim Harbaugh's coaching the first 3 games. And if they do, what? What are you going to do about it?
The NIL rule went into place July 1st, 2021. So I don't know when that autograph signing was, but
who cares?
I
mean, like, who cares? What are we even talking about, man? I cannot believe in 2023 that this is even real. Like, that the NCAA still has this. I really didn't even think that they had this type of authority. That was the part that struck me the most. Like, people still listen to them like this? I mean, when the Supreme Court told them to, like, pack your business model up and get the hell out of here. In no country in the world is this legal. Third world countries apply. Like, This can't happen anywhere. You're thieves. You're stealing. You're criminals. You are, all of you on the board of directors up there in the NCAA, all of you in the compliance committee, all of you president of, you're criminals. You're making money off of people that weren't able to collect, off of their sweat, off of their injuries, off of their tear, off of just their work. And it was smoked out finally after, 100 years. And still, they can come in and say, well, yeah, he signed an autograph for his, and he got money. Yeah, well, no shit. It's legal now. I'm sorry, man. I know kids are in carpool, man. I'm sorry for the but this, kids. This is illegal. This is a sham. This is crazy. Tell your teachers this morning. Can you believe that Maason Smith's not playing? Like, in what world? In what business does this make sense? Teach. This is a lesson. I can't believe Maason Smith's ineligible for game one. I cannot believe that Maason Smith will not be dressed out for LSU, Florida State, and he'll be healthy. I wish, and it's not going to happen. And, that's why Brian Kelly's been in the game for 35 years because, he's compliant, plays by the rule. He does the deal. I would just play him.
How did they get to pick the game for Kayshawn, but they don't get to pick the game for Maason Smith?
Good one.
Because Kayshawn played against Florida State last year. Missed the UAB game. BK said it was the flu. It was real suspension.
I don't by the letter of the law, I would just say he missed all last season. He's already missed his games. Well, he was hurt. I don't care. He didn't play.
That's worse than a suspension.
Right. He didn't play. So, he's already served it. Get the hell out of here. It's amazing. Maason Smith's not playing against Florida State. It just... You tell me in what world that makes any sense. Any. Remember, Daily, we're brought to you by Katie's Restaurant. Katie's Restaurant is located down on Iberville Street. They're online at katiesinmidcity.com, katiesinmidcity.com. This weekend, the New Orleans Saints are playing their final preseason game. That'll be at 7 o'clock. Remember, you can get in touch with Katie's by just showing up on Sundays. They got new hours, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. So if you want to check out some pregame, if you want to go there and eat before, if you're coming down to the Dome from outside of New Orleans and you want a place to kind of get to the vibe, get ready for the game, check out Katie's, katiesinmidcity.com. They're located on Iberville Street, down in the heart of Mid-City. Been around since 1984. Their sister restaurant, Francesca's, is, of course, a great sandwich deli over in Lakeview. You can learn all the information, katiesinmidcity.com. Remember, new Sunday hours. They have embraced the schedule. If you are, this would be a great weekend to try it. Saints playing at 7 o'clock on Sunday night. They'll be playing against Stingley and the Texans. So if you want to get down there and check them out, katiesinmidcity.com is where you can find them online. Been around since 1984. All right, appreciate everybody getting in here and interacting with us here on this Thursday morning. We're going to talk to We're going to talk to Gordon coming up here at 8 a.m. We're also going to talk to Wilson Alexander coming up here shortly, and Chris Blair is going to be here in about an hour. Free mind, Jordy, where's the bottle at? Ducked off JB, who snitched, Stewie? Funky quarterback bunch, poor quarterback from Grambling. Maason going to absolutely eat 5 sacks. Gerald Jr., Maason should have told the NCAA family as well. I don't know what that means. So a lot of you interacting here. Appreciate that. Hit the like button, share button, comment button. When we come back, we'll talk to Wilson Alexander. Alexander broke this yesterday, and we'll talk to him some about what he learned as he brought the story forward. If you haven't read it yet, get over to NOLA.com. You can find it with Wilson as we'll talk to him next here on the Jordy Culotta Show, brought to you daily by R&B Builders. Red Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz.
We're all from different places and backgrounds. We've each experienced our own versions of life, but in the end, we're all on the same team. I'm part of that team, along with these players in purple and gold.
Kayshawn Buddha,
Malik Neighbors,
Miles Frazier,
Kyron Lacey,
Greg Brooks.
Whether on the field or in the courtroom, your team matters.
So join our team.
Make a difference.
Bet. Let's get it done.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by A-Bears Lawn Maintenance. Commercial or residential, A-Bears Lawn Maintenance is ready to work. A-Bears can tackle all your homeowners association requirements. Call Blake at 225-485-8022. A-Bears Lawn Maintenance.
In a wreck, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys is ready to go to work for you. Come meet your team.
I'm your intake specialist. I coordinate your case and connect you with your attorney and paralegal.
That's us, your legal team.
Thanks.
And we'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve.
I'm your settlements and disbursement manager, and I'm here to get you paid on time.
I'm attorney Gordon McKernan. Put our team to work today. Just call us. Get it done.
Hey Tiger fans, when you're traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, make sure to visit Tom and Wright Granning at Go-Mart and On The Go Deli, where you can fill up your tank and your belly. Go-Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you may need on your trip. Located at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left. Also stop by Wardo's Po' Boys at 309 North Broadway on the beautiful Natchez Bluff, where the Po' Boys are so good you'll swear you're in Cajun country.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Is it time to wash your house or business? Call the pros at Hydro Wash today. Get them out with their low-pressure, soft-washing cleaning approach. From commercial buildings, rooftops, and residentials, Hydro Wash is ready to get your place shining. Find them on Facebook or call Curtis at 225-933-7068. Take it from me, Hydro Wash came by and made my house look like new. What was best was the professionalism. They picked up everything, made the clean, and then put everything back to where it belonged. Get in touch with Curtis today. Call him at 225-933-7068 or find Hydro Wash on Facebook.
All right, buddy. Make it a good shot.
Oh, yeah.
Sticking the roof in.
For a hole in your roof, for a whole new roof, go roof. Roof, roof, go roof.
Hey, Greg, the roof up?
Roof's up.
Roof's up. Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Beautiful roof every single time. True. True.
All right, over here at Click Here Digital from the campus here, 20,000 plus square feet of campus and business space, over 150 employees. We're setting digital marketing ads for you. Remember, if you're on Google, if you're on Facebook, if you're on Instagram, and you get served an ad, that's what Click Here Digital does. We had the power of it yesterday. Heard from somebody over in Memphis who's a listener to the show. We're setting up a meeting next week with our professionals over here at Click Here, and looking forward to talking some shop. If you want a direct contact, remember, you can just email me, Jordy at clickheredigital.com, or you can log online to clickheredigital.com as well. All right, Wilson Alexander broke the news yesterday, NOLA.com, the advocate. He's on Twitter at WHAlexander_. You see him here throughout the offseason. He'll be a regular here throughout the season. Wilson, I texted you after you broke this news yesterday. You've got to be kidding me. Like, I cannot believe that this is happening. What did you find out? At what point did you realize that this is real and Maason Smith is not going to play because of something he did 2 years ago?
Found out at some point yesterday, and then got solid confirmation on all of it around yesterday afternoon. It was certainly, as you said, something that happened 2 years ago and is just now being punished for it. He probably would have been punished for this and served a one-game suspension last year if he hadn't gotten hurt. And instead, now he has to miss this first game. The NCAA sources told me said that it had to be the first game. And so that, of course, this wouldn't be as big of an issue if LSU had a cupcake opener week one. But because it's Florida State, marquee game, top 10 matchup, it carries quite a lot of significance.
Wilson, simply, how do they still yield this type of authority, the NCAA?
That's a good question. There's a lot of confusion when this first happened, and people saw improper benefit, and in the NIL era, that didn't make a lot of sense. This happened pre-NIL, however, and in that time, not long before the start of NIL went into effect, July 1, 2021, this happened to, what I understand to be an autograph signing. Would have been perfectly fine if it had just been a few weeks later. But instead, it happened pre-NIL, and so the NCAA is still within its jurisdiction to punish Maason Smith for that and for getting this improper benefit. It's sort of strange because it is 2 years later, and we are seeing this. I mean, this is perfectly fine nowadays, and but they are still punishing him for this, even though in today's rules it would have been perfectly legal.
Is the appeal process exhausted on this? I mean, is this the final ruling? Is Maason Smith definitely out for Florida State?
He is definitely out against Florida State, yes.
Wilson, I want to start a brawl because of that. All right, so what happens now from an LSU standpoint? I mean, obviously they've been in this position before without him. Now with a new lineup, who steps up? You know Mekhi Wingo is going to be there. Who's up next?
It's Jacobian Guillory is going to have to be relied on, and as well as Jordan Jefferson, the Florida transfer. We'll see if anybody else can get into the mix. It's something they've done some interesting things recently with Quincy Wiggins lining up with his hand in the dirt inside, not necessarily always as like a shade over the tackle, but he's taking some one-on-one reps over the shades of guards. And I don't know, he's not really going to be like a nose tackle or something like that, but Matt House can be so creative with his defensive fronts that they could end up mixing some guys in, and sort of moving pieces around in order to try to create some favorable matchups. It'll be interesting to see if they do that. But when you talk about just defensive tackle, it'll certainly be Wingo, Jacobian Guillory, Jordan Jefferson, maybe even Jalen Lee, the Florida transfer. And if anybody else mixes in after that, we'll see. But I think those are probably your top four based on what we saw during preseason practice to this point. It is almost not the same situation, certainly, as what they dealt with last year against Florida State, in that Mason's not out for the year or anything like that. This is just a one-game suspension, but it's almost sort of eerily similar in that they have to play Florida State again without him.
So going back just real quick, so the NCAA is the one that said it has to be the first game?
Yes, they did. Why they did, I don't know, but they said that had to be the first game, and there was no LSU did not get to pick which game Maason Smith was going to miss.
Okay, so from LSU standpoint, obviously you talk about Jacoby and Guillory moving up and stepping up now from that standpoint. Let's go beyond Maason Smith. Now that we got you, I know that you cover the team and you've been covering fall practice. Take me back to Saturday. You saw him scrimmage for the first time. What was your biggest takeaways from it?
Number one was at Sage Ryan at cornerback. We had seen Sage get some corner reps earlier that week in a few open practices, and yet it still wasn't like a constant thing. So we weren't maybe making too much of it yet. But it was certainly the fact to see him with the first team defense, and with the first team defense quite a lot, was surprising. Now, obviously, corner being the number one question here of the preseason, what's going to happen there? Sage moving over there is, if that sticks, that's a huge development in particular. Even if it doesn't, it shows that LSU could maybe run that lineup at some point. They love these safeties with Major and Andre Sam, who they really think highly of, the transfer from Tulane/Marshall/Nice, and then as well as Greg Brooks, they can get really creative. And so maybe if they put Sage Ryan out on the boundary and he's able to hold his own out there, then Greg can play nickel, which is a very natural spot for him. Then you get Andre and Major on the field, and that's probably your best 11 in terms of talent, or at least potentially is. So to see him out there was I think the main takeaway. And then the other one was the Lance Hurd being at right tackle. How soon is he going to really be able to push for a spot, push for time? He's certainly in the mix, Brian Kelly said a couple days ago. Is he going to be the starter against Florida State? That would still be quite a surprise just because of the talent on Florida State's defensive front. Are you going to put a freshman out there, even if it's one as talented as the Lance, right away? When you trust Miles Frazier, maybe not, but he is getting himself in the mix, and especially if LSU has somebody go down or miss a game or something like that, he might be the next man up in that scenario potentially.
What do you make of the Denver Harris situation, and what do you expect of him this coming season, and particularly in the opener?
I don't expect much right now. He was not been with the first team defense at any point in the preseason, and hadn't really made any plays that made you think that. Since we've been out there, and we haven't seen every single team period, that should be important to note. There's still quite a few people in LSU who think this guy is probably long-term their most talented corner, but it's been described to me before as raw and needed to develop, and we have not seen a play during the media openings that made you think, wow, that guy needs to be on the field this fall right now. And so he is, until he does something to assert himself as a first-team player, I don't expect to see him as much of a factor. And maybe that changes at some point. Maybe he gets an opportunity if somebody in front of him struggles. But he's going to have to make sure he continues to do everything off the field correctly. That is very important to this staff, and to show that he is learning that discipline in order for him to get on the field in the first place. And once he is, then maybe he can become a factor in the secondary. But right now, he isn't.
What were your impressions of the quarterback last weekend?
It was mostly what we had seen for parts of the preseason here. It wasn't anything that was shocking in any way. That Jaden was taking some shots here and there when he had them at different parts of practice. But on the whole, he's not a completely different quarterback. He's going to use his legs. They drew up a design run for him, which is interesting. We didn't see as many design runs for Jaden last year necessarily. Some of it was more off of RPOs or him improvising. And they've shown a couple of looks of that during the preseason. And so he's going to do that, and he's going to get I think what is more important for him is that he's trying to get the ball out quick, get into the hands of the playmakers running upfield, and that's how they're trying to maybe be more explosive. And when he does have a shot play, take it. And so we saw that out of him, I think, and that sort of reinforces maybe how he's going to play. Don't expect him to be just airing it out like 50 yards downfield in terms of, becoming more of a downfield passer, but he was making some aggressive throws over the course of the preseason. That was good to see. And, with Garrett, his arm talent is still incredibly high, and his decision-making is getting better, but continues to need to develop a little bit. But if he has to go into a game, you feel really good about what he can do. You didn't see a ton out of Garrett during the scrimmage portion. He missed a deep throw where he had somebody over. I think it was Aaron Anderson. He had Aaron Anderson open and took the deep shot where he probably should have thrown it down to Aaron instead. But, that's coverage is dictating things, and maybe saw something different. And even still, like, he made some beautiful throws, and he's certainly going to be a really talented guy once he gets in there. If that's some point this season or next year.
Last one, Wilson. We'll get you out of here. Appreciate your time. I'm sure this is a very busy day for you. Remember Wilson Alexander. You can follow him on Twitter at WHAlexander_. Broke the news yesterday on Maason Smith, who's going to be missing game 1. You can read the story at NOLA.com and over at The Advocate. Special teams, Mason. What have you made? Or excuse me, Wilson. What have you made of the Mason? All up in my brain, man. What have you made of the special teams? The way that they've made strides since last season. Obviously, in the offseason, this is something that they wanted to improve.
Well, we still won't know for sure until we get out there against Florida State and are able to actually see them play special teams. But what we know is a few things. One, they've been spending a lot of time on it during the preseason. Every time that we've been out there, there have been multiple special teams periods. Bob Diaco, who was, of course, thrust into that role right before the season opener, brings a lot of energy, not season opener, first practice, brings a lot of energy to that position. The players seem to have responded pretty well to him. They like that he's really interactive. And then the second thing is that there's a lot of starters on the special teams unit. One of the things that LSU kind of thought about its special teams units last year was that the lack of depth on the roster really showed up there. That's not going to be necessarily the case this year. There's a lot of starters and important players out on special teams, some of your best guys on special teams. And the addition of Aaron Anderson was what is very clear is the third thing at this point. Can make a huge difference. He is dynamic as a punt returner as long as he's catching the ball cleanly, which we've generally seen him do. LSU feels like he can make a big difference in the return game. And Brian Kelly has said before that really he thought the drops in the return game were the biggest flaw that LSU had on special teams last year. And so if Aaron can eradicate that, then that in itself improves LSU special teams to a great deal. And that would be a massive help to this team if it can not have to worry about that aspect of the game like it did last season, and at least be steady across the front board on special teams. And I would be surprised if it was the same kind of problem that it was last year after having gone through that already.
To break the news in his industry, you've got to have the best relationships. Wilson Alexander broke the news yesterday about Maason Smith, and he was also named ESPN's Edward Aschoff Rising Star within the media. He is covering LSU football in our local market, people. Make sure and follow him on Twitter. He is worth it here coming up for the season, and it just kicking off 10 days from now. Great work yesterday, Wilson. I hated the story, but I love the work, man. I'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks, Jordy, and congrats on the new space.
Thank you, buddy. There he is, Wilson Alexander, checking in this morning from The Advocate and from NOLA.com. As he was the one that broke the news yesterday on Maason Smith, who's going to be missing the opener. And it's just, man, I can't believe it. I can't believe that is a storyline in 2023 in college football, that the NCAA still has the authority to come in and retroactively deem one of the best players in the sport ineligible just for a game. You know, just for one game because of something that he did 2 years ago in signing an autograph and took a little cash on the side for it. But that's legal now. You could do that now. And sit him out against Florida State. Why not? Like, it's just and
you don't get to pick a game. It's Florida
State. That's the part,
nothing.
too. Like, why not? Like, why doesn't the NCAA have to have a spokesperson that publicly states the whole case against Maason Smith and the fact-finding and why they ruled what they did? Like, who's the voice? Who's the spokesperson? Who's the board that said, you know what? We're deeming Maason Smith ineligible for one game, and you can't pick the game. It has to be the first one. Like, okay, put that guy on the line. Put her on the line. Let's talk to her. Like, why did he make that decision? Like, what'd you find? What deemed that to come out? Nothing? Cool. He's playing. I mean, like, this is a joke. Really. I mean, it is a joke. Daily, we're brought to you by Go Roof. Remember, our friends over at Go Roof are online at GEAUXroof.com. They remind you here in the offseason of football that do not sign a roofing contract with a roofer that you have not met. Do not allow somebody to give you a contract that hadn't jumped up on your roof and given you that inspection. Our friends over at Go Roof do that for free. If you want to call them today, they'll jump up on your roof and tell them what's going on. They'll work with the insurance company. They'll make that whole process very easy. 225-927-8300. 225-927-8300 is the phone number. A beautiful roof every single time. That's what you get from our friends over at Go Roof. They do roof repair. They install roofs. They maintain roofs. They do it both on residential and commercial buildings. You can find out all the information that you want online at GEAUXroof.com. Free quotes available. Free and quick roof inspection. As we said, if you just dial that number, they'll jump up on the roof for you today and tell you what's up. They'll work with the insurance company. No stress, no headaches, just a brand new roof. A beautiful roof every single time. In fact, when you work with our friends over at Go Roof. Online, GEAUXroof.com. You get a 2-year free workmanship guarantee with all new roof installations from our friends over at Go Roof. So check them out, GEAUXroof.com. I can't get over this Maason Smith story. I mean, I really can't. I mean, this thing is going to haunt me all day. I got a busy day, too. I got stuff to do, man. I mean, it just... I cannot believe that Maason Smith is not playing in one of the biggest games of the year when he's healthy. And I see Dre in the chat from Tallahassee. I know he loves to see us crying, and he loves to hear the whining, and he loves to hear I get it, the negativity. I mean, if I was tapping into a Florida State podcast and the host was acting like a belligerent idiot, I would feel the same way.
Dre, you barely won the game with a makeshift team against a makeshift LSU team.
I still think LSU can win the game.
I think LSU's the better team.
I mean, really now, Dre, the pressure has now shifted a little bit more into the Knowles locker room, right? I mean, like, yeah, I mean, the speech is pretty easy for Mike Norvell if you're talking to your offense. Like, fellas, they just plucked one of the best defensive linemen in the country, maybe the top defensive lineman in next year's draft, off of the field against you.
You caught a break.
So you better dominate these guys. Because not only is he one of the best in the country, he was motivated. He got hurt against you guys last year. He had circled this game like he was ready to get back to play against Florida State. And now he's out. So you guys you should dominate, right? I mean, like, you should be able to push LSU around against that offensive line that I called fat and pudgy last year.
Still are.
And now they're going up against a unit that you lose their best player. So, I mean, really the pressure has shifted, right? I mean, like, the attention of this whole thing is shifted to Florida State. What was the opening line, Stewie? Tigers by 3?
I think it's 2.5.
Well, you know, this could – Maason Smith can move the number a half a point.
Yeah.
I mean, outside of a quarterback – you know, you got to be a real dominant player to move a point spread. Outside of the quarterback, there's probably only 1 or 2 players on every field that can move it maybe a half a point. Maason Smith's one of those dudes. Take him off the field, he changes the game. I mean, like, he totally changes the identity of what LSU is going to do defensively. With and without him is a different game plan. There's not a lot of guys. You know, Harold Perkins is one of those guys. I would say on your defense, Maason Smith and Harold Perkins are the two that you got to change what you do if you don't have them. Right? And if you're LSU and you have to change what you do, that's a half a point. So more pressure on you, Dre, Florida State. What a terrible ruling, though. What a terrible, terrible ruling for the sport. I mean, Dre, first off, you're a college football fan, right? Like, you're a fan of the sport. I know I am. I like to watch, you know, I'll tune in and watch Georgia, Florida. I'll tune in and watch Texas, Oklahoma. You know, I'll watch a game that I don't necessarily have a tie to. But if I watch those games, I want the best players on the field. Like, if LSU plays Florida State in the opener, I want Florida State fully healthy. I want all the dudes out there. So when it gets down to the debate, there's no, well, Maason Smith didn't play the first time. It came down to a blocked field goal in the last play of the game, and LSU played the entire 4 quarters without their best defensive player. Sure would love to see that game with him on the field, right? So now he's healthy, motivated, ready to play, and you're celebrating because the NCAA retroactively deemed him ineligible? Okay. Tells me more about the fan base than it does about how you feel about the game, really. Because take your best player at Florida State. Make sure he's healthy for that Sunday night. Because you want to just square off and play best on best. And taking Maason Smith out of the lineup is an injustice to the game, to the sport, first and foremost. If that guy is healthy and that guy is ready to play, then you got no business retroactively telling him something that he did 2 years ago he can't play for. I mean, that organization is broken. Their word, it holds no weight. It holds no value. The Supreme Court told you so. I mean, it's not just some podcaster that's a LSU-based medium, right? I mean, it's the Supreme Court laughed the NCAA out of their chambers on national television for the world to see. The federal government told you the business plan's a sham. In no country is this legal. So on what grounds do they have to tell you 2 years after that happened? Like, that's been in the books 2 years ago. Emmert got dressed down on the Capitol Hill at Supreme Court. And they still feel like they can come in and tell you, oh, yeah, you broke the rules. Well, yeah, your rules are broken. I mean, like, nobody's breaking your rules. Your rules are broken. It just... Maason Smith not playing against Florida State. Give me a break, man. If there's anybody that can get this done, it's Gordon. And just so happens he's here this morning. I'm going to beg and plead with Gordon to get to do something. We're going to talk NIL. I'm going to ask him to put his legal hat on. All of it. I'm getting 50 Shades of G this morning, as I want to hear all about how this happened, how legally somebody thinks that they can do. Obviously, somebody can do this, but how, from a legal standpoint, can they do it? And Gordon, quite simply, how can you fix it? Right? I mean, this is right up G's alley. I mean, throw on the cape, do the deal. We'll flash the light up in the sky. We'll flash the G spotlight up into the sky. We'll call for our Batman, call for our Superman. G, put your cape on. If there's one man that can do this, it's Gordon McKernan. He is going to be in the studio here in 5 minutes, and we are going to ask him his plan to get Maason Smith eligible against Florida State. Because I know he's doing it. He's got to be flying up to Indianapolis today, meeting with the NCAA, breaking this organization down, suit by suit. I mean, come on, G. He'll be here in 5 minutes. Can't wait for him to see the new facility. Can't wait for him to meet the team over here at Click Here Digital. Everybody's fired up to see him on campus this morning. He's going to take a tour of the campus. He works directly with our crew over here. We love working with the G Squad. It's been awesome to be a partner with Gordon. He's going to tell you all about it. ClickHereDigital.com. Remember, we come to you live from the campus every single day. 20,000 square feet, over 150 employees, setting your digital marketing plan for you. Google, Facebook, Instagram, all of those ads you get served, that's what Click Here Digital does. If that can help your business, remember, I tell you all the time, what does Click Here Digital do? They make their clients money. If you want to make money, get in touch with me. Jordy at ClickHereDigital.com or online at ClickHereDigital.com is where you can find out more about them. We're back. Gordon will be here with us. It is a gloomy Thursday. No Maason Smith, but hopefully G can make the sun come through the clouds. He'll be here next on the Jordy Culotta Show, built always by RMB. If you're in the market for a mortgage lender, you need to start with Doug Bickley and his team. Bickley has built a crew with over 50 years of combined lending experience. They've been in business for over 20 years, and they love helping their clients achieve the American dream of home ownership. They're also key with working in real estate agents and helping their clients getting same-day pre-approval. They average about one buyer a day getting them in a home. If you want to get in touch with Doug and his crew, it's easy. Call them 225 225-214-5154. 225-214-5154. Go see the Bickley team today. They're located on the corner of Coursey Boulevard and Sherwood Forest right here in Baton Rouge. Is it time to wash your house or business? Call the pros at Hydro Wash today. Get them out with their low-pressure, soft-washing cleaning approach. From commercial buildings, rooftops, and residentials, Hydro Wash is ready to get your place shining. Find them on Facebook or call Curtis at 225-933-7068. Take it from me, Hydro Wash came by and made my house look like new. What was best was the professionalism. They picked up everything, made the clean, and then put everything back to where it belonged. Get in touch with Curtis today. Call him at 225-933-7068 or find Hydro Wash on Facebook.
What's up?
What's happening?
Chilling with a couple of cool guys. You?
Chilling and watching some tube. Hold on. Did you do it? Hold on. Did you do it?
Roof's up.
Hold on.
Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Hold on. Hold on. Hold on.
Beautiful roof every shingle time.
True. True.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Are you looking for sound financial advice? Then get in touch with Daniel Newman of Edward Jones. You can call him today at 225-261-8262 or email him daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. If you're planning for retirement, saving for college for children or grandchildren, or just looking for sound investment opportunities, get in touch with Daniel today, 225-261-8262, located on Magnolia Square Drive in Central. Daniel Newman of Edward Jones.
You can't put the cart before the horse. That'd be like, will you marry me?
Do I know you?
Never sign a contract with a roofer before he gets on your roof. Call Go Roof instead. We offer a free, no-obligation inspection. A beautiful roof every shingle time. Bobby, goes in the front.
Roof, roof, Go Roof.
Belmont Stakes Race Training. I'm sticking to roofing.
Roof, roof, Go Roof.
Kentucky Derby Training. I'm sticking to roofing.
Roof, roof, Go Roof.
All right, welcome back here, Thursday edition, live from our campus on Click Here Digital's campus here on Interline between Drusilla and Airline in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And it's a big day, big show. We said we had Gordon McKernan coming through. We got Chris Blair coming through, voice of the Tigers, who's going to be here at 8:30 this morning. And we heard from Wilson Alexander, who broke the news yesterday that Maason Smith was not going to be eligible for Florida State. It's a perfect day to talk to our guy. It's always a good day to talk to G as he comes through our new studio, one of our first guests here. It's great to see you first and foremost. Good morning.
Oh, great to be here. Thanks for having me, Jordy.
Absolutely. A lot to get to.
Yeah.
Obviously, we always want to talk about NIL and some of the things going on there, but one of your NIL players, athletes, representatives, and Maason Smith got the news yesterday that he was going to be missing game one. And I guess from your NIL perspective, your legal perspective, what are we looking at?
Yeah. Certainly want to talk about that, but I have to give a shout out right now to Bo White, the man here at Click Here Digital. For those of you who don't know him, he's nothing short of a genius. And he's been handling my digital media for, over 10 years. And it just created just a growth trajectory that I would have expected. And he's desired all over the country. So anybody out there who needs some digital help here in Baton Rouge, greater Baton Rouge area, I would certainly look him up because he's something different.
I am in advertising, and have been in sales
Yeah.
of advertising. How uncommon is it for you to keep one representative for a decade? Right?
No, I had a little midlife crisis. I was stupid for about 12 months one time, and had all these people chirping in my ear because we had grown a lot. Say, hey, you need to come try this, and go try this guy in California, and go try this guy there, and I wandered in the desert, literally, just like in the Bible. Just didn't no direction, didn't know what I was doing for about 12, 18 months.
Wow.
Watched my my leads, everything just fall, and then went begging back, hand in hat to Bo, and Bo was kind enough to say, "Yep, you were not smart, young man, but come on back home." I did it, and I've never looked back. And he's done a great job. And he's all over the country. People don't realize the talent. We normally wouldn't have intellectual talent like that here in Baton Rouge, but he's been doing it a long time, and he's a good friend, and I'm fortunate that he is a partner.
I've been working for him and with him for 6 weeks, and it's the best university I've been to.
I'm telling you, it's great.
It's incredible.
But yeah, to your Maason comment.
Yeah.
So I was in meetings all day yesterday, and I got a text from what you call it?
Scott?
No, the reporter.
Wilson.
Yeah, Wilson. I'm sorry. Yeah. And I was like, I'm in a meeting right now. He said, tell me what's the deal with Maason. I'm like, which Maason? And I was like, oh. So I couldn't answer it, but I saw the article. It took me several hours, and it was like basically, Mason's suspended for some sort of dealings, and I was like, well, it doesn't mention me, but it doesn't not mention me.
Right.
And so I'm like, hey, call him Wilson right away. Wilson, this has nothing to do with me, man. I don't want people out there thinking that I've done something to create this infraction, because it was before he was here. It was a freshman. It was a signing. It was something with the older players as well. And that's what I thought, but I was trying to get to you. I just wanted to make sure. I said, please put that out there. So it's an unfortunate incident. There's a lot of conspiracy theorists out there. Well, if this was Alabama, certainly it wouldn't be happening on the first game of the year against another top-ranked opponent. And it doesn't seem like the NCAA likes to treat LSU the same as it does maybe some of those other darlings, right? So it doesn't seem fair that a player of that talent for this game, that they would finally exercise that now.
You wear many hats and very talented, but from a legal perspective, obviously that's your background.
Yeah.
How do you view the NCAA and the way that
people think that they're like a legal entity. They're really not, right? So they don't have legal authority over you, right? They can't subpoena me. They have no jurisdictional thing like that, right? It's all relegated to playing in their environment or playing within their context. So they've got an NCAA game, so they have the authority to say, well, look, we agreed to this. And there was some back and forth between the NCAA and Mason's reps for a period of time, and he was hurt, so he was not able to serve it last year. But you certainly would think that there was some sort of agreement that could be had where maybe he serves at the fourth game of this year or something.
Right. NIL is a space and a term that continues to evolve.
Right.
You are at the forefront for absolutely in our state from it. What are you seeing on the horizon? What are some of the new things coming and changes?
Well, what what I'm really seeing is some of those schools that we worry about, with the deep pockets, getting better organized, getting better at the game, getting better at recruiting. To lose a Colin Simmons, like that, when all indications that he wanted to be here, he was coming here. But the other side is just getting better at the game now. And I think people need to be aware of that. And I do think for the first time we're really hearing the first rumblings that Congress is starting to get interested. It just takes a while for Congress to do anything, right? Except spend our money. They do that really quickly and really well.
Sure.
Other than that, if they're really going to do something meaningful, it seems to take time. So I do think that's happening. It's just going to take some time.
Have you seen a model yet in the collective space? Have you seen anything that you look at from a model that you say, hey, look, we've got to follow this blueprint, or there's something that we can look at and mirror?
Well, I mean, we don't have UT's money, so we can't follow that model, right? That's just something different. You saw where the Texas A&M, one of the collectives collapsed. The IRS is getting much more harsh in the treatment of these collectives and what's deductible and what's not. They're going to do these charitable events, and you get to write your dollars for that, and you show up once a year or something. That's deemed a deductible expense. They're going after that hard, so those are collapsing. If you're going to do it, it's going to have to be some sort of true marketing expense for your business or something like that to get the deductibility. Kind of like what I think Bayou Traditions here is on the right track. I think they stand the best chance of withstanding the scrutiny of IRS and NCAA. I think it's closer to what it was intended to be.
What are your expectations for Kim Mulkey in year 3?
Oh man. Oh well, she's different, right? We all know that if you've spent any time with her, I hate to put pressure on her, but she puts pressure on herself, and she doesn't mind that.
I think she invites it, right?
Oh, she does, yeah. With the #1 recruiting class, arguably the best coach ever. I know Gino up there at Connecticut's done his deal, but she's just different. You've got to think anything short of a Final Four type thing would be a disappointment. Now, you get some injuries or something like that, you can't control that. And if you think about last year, she was fortunate. No injuries, no major scandals, no major suspensions, anything like that. This team is supremely talented. Talked to Angel just the other day. Was asking her about Haley. How do you like Haley? Well, we hadn't really a chance. We were on the team together, but we really hadn't bonded. But from everything I know, I love her, and she seems really cool. And I think it's going to be a fun season. Haley's a big personality.
Yeah.
I mean, big personality.
Yeah, she is.
And I think her and Angel be great.
Right. I know that you are very much aligned and represented and recognized with LSU and NIL, but you've done so much work outside of LSU in that space. What is it like kind of playing outside of this market within NIL? How is that going for you?
People often ask me how you choose players, and I tell them this. I look for something that's interesting. Was it an interesting story, adversity in their life? Are they interesting on the field or on the court, right? It's not always interesting doesn't mean necessarily great, but you like that. If they're making the plays and they're getting the headlines, that's interesting. But it might just be a way they play. It might be something they do. It might be the kid who's diving on the ground every single time, and you want that type of scrappy attitude, or it might be a life adversity that they overcame. But anything like that, that's what I'm looking for. And so all of my offices around the state, they're on guard, and they're watching the headlines and the trendings to see, is there anything happening that's bubbling up? If there is, then we go after it and we sign it. But I don't have a quota that I want this many from this school. I'm waiting for that feel-good story that I can align myself with.
How has this space helped you? Content. I mean, you have become one of the dominant content creators, well within legal, but really kind of in the market. I mean, you're grubbing with G segments and all of this that you're putting out. How has that helped you, or what have you seen the benefit?
Yeah, I think there's a deeper saturation of the brand. Yeah. Right. You pretty much everybody knows the brand to some degree, right? 1,000 billboards and all that stuff across state. But then there's a deeper saturation within it, right? And it saturates to some people that otherwise kind of turn away from it. And now they're going, wow, he's supporting my hometown university. He's trying to give back. He's trying to do some things. People recognize, I think, intuitively that every dollar I spend in NIL is probably not as good. If I give every dollar I'm spending in NIL to Bo, right, to drive me more leads and calls and all that, that'd be money better spent, right? But it's not all about everything in return on the dollar. It's also about helping your local university, giving kids a better platform to be known and to people to see them. So I think it's done that, a deeper saturation, more people kind of going, okay, he's not such a bad guy. The guy who does all the crazy stuff, he's giving back.
The Barbie billboard is my favorite right now. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's funny.
So you're from Baton Rouge.
Yep.
Scott Woodward's from Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
There's every time you hear him talk, he talks alignment. How have you seen this place aligned? Because it seems like you are very much aligned with the success of the athletic program right now.
Yeah. Well, first of all, as I mentioned about Bo early on, Scott's different, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, arguably the best athletic director in the country. I mean, just see his handprints on the program everywhere. Most people just think of the coaches that he's hired, but Scott came up legislatively, right? He came up working for political folks, so he understands where dollars are, right? And that's so important in an athletic director, right? He understands, like, we can't compete dollar for dollar with a Texas or an Alabama and some of those things, but I understand how to go get money. I understand how these outside revenue streams, so there's all these things that people don't talk about that you'll see unfold through the years that's going to put LSU in much more stronger financial foundation to compete with everybody that he's doing behind the scenes. That, I'm aware of these things, and other people are, but that's the first thing. It's just so strong I know the state of Louisiana can help LSU in this respect, so he starts angling for that and working that, with the politicians, the governors, and the senators and representatives. So that's the first thing. Second thing, obviously, is hiring great coaches. And then he has understood NIL from the beginning. I know we were all a little worried that the collective was a little slow, but he had a plan, and it's working out. I mean, I think he's spectacular.
Everybody asked me for a hat. So I'm asking for everybody. Can the public get them? And
yeah,
how did this work for you?
That was a fun little ride, and as I call him, the OG Todd Graves. That's a true marketer and true genius, right? He really is in so many ways. And when he came up with that idea, I reached out to him, hey, let's do it again. He goes, no, you go do it. Go set that record way out there. So he's very generous. But that was a great time and a great experience if you haven't been to Rocco's. And they're coming down they're trying to come down, I think, for the Grambling game.
Oh, nice.
Present the check.
The poor Grambling quarterback. Maason Smith's going to be eligible.
So they're coming down. But, that was just a wonderful experience. My whole marketing team, there's a big group of them now. They responded because really I get ideas on the fly. I'm flying into Omaha, and I'm just pecking out ideas. All right, we got to do this. We got to do this. It's going, and they're responding to all my craziness. And this one worked out well. We ordered the hats. We went through them quickly. We ordered more hats. We went through those. So we're gonna have we bought all the ones in the country out with a little rope band like that. So we're getting more made from China. They're getting put over. But I think this baseball season coming into it, we're going to have a big giveaway with a bunch of these hats.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it'd be good.
Well, if you need a platform to give away, you got one
we
here.
can do that.
I know you talked about working with Bo and Click here and the team over here and us for the last 10 years. Do you see the team and what it means to them to work with you? I don't know if this surprises you to see everybody here.
Well, his team is always very gracious, and I think Bo does a great job of setting a kind of a culture of gratitude. At least from all the things I've seen of his company through the years and little workshops and things he does, and they write you thank you letters and stuff, right? And who still writes thank you letters, right? Although I did a little video yesterday, Taylor makes me do these things and give me 3 hacks for getting a job with you, and one of them was write a thank you note, right? But they do those little things really, really well, and it's not surprising to me that his team is up bright and early and greeting. That's emblematic of this company.
Well, everybody's hoping you can put your cape on and go get Maason Smith eligible for game 1. I know that you can't make miracles and make water into wine, but it's great to see you as always.
Yeah, it's good to be here, Jordy.
Yes.
Space looks great.
Thank you very much. Gordon McKernan, the G Squad, we're proud to be a part of it. We're here at Click Here Digital's campus where they've been working for him and with him for a decade, and it's obvious how he's been received both sides. It's great to see you. We'll be back. We'll be back with more here on the Jordy Culotta Show, as always, built by R&B Builders.
There you go.
Red Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz.
We're all from different places and backgrounds. We've each experienced our own versions of life, but in the end, we're all on the same team. I'm part of that team, along with these players in purple and gold.
Kayshawn Buddha, Malik Neighbors, Miles Frazier,
Kyron Lacy,
Greg Brooks.
Whether on the field or in the courtroom, your team matters.
So join our team.
Make a difference.
Bet. Let's get it done.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by A-Bears Lawn Maintenance. Commercial or residential, A-Bears Lawn Maintenance is ready to work. A-Bears can tackle all your homeowners association requirements. Call Blake at 225-485-8022. A-Bears Lawn Maintenance.
In a wreck, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys is ready to go to work for you. Come meet your team.
I'm your intake specialist. I coordinate your case and connect you with your attorney and paralegal.
That's us, your legal team.
Here we go.
Thanks. And we'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve.
I'm your settlements and disbursement manager, and I'm here to get you paid on time.
I'm attorney Gordon McKernan. Put our team to work today. Just call us.
Get it done.
Hey Tiger fans, when you're traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, make sure to visit Tom and Wright Granning at Go-Mart and On The Go Deli, where you can fill up your tank and your belly. Go-Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you may need on your trip. Located at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left. Also stop by Wardo's Po' Boys at 309 North Broadway on the beautiful Natchez Bluff, where the Po' Boys are so good you'll swear you're in Cajun country.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Is it time to wash your house or business? Call the pros at Hydro Wash today. Get them out with their low-pressure, soft-washing cleaning approach. From commercial buildings, rooftops, and residentials, Hydro Wash is ready to get your place shining. Find them on Facebook or call Curtis at 225-933-7068. Take it from me, Hydro Wash came by and made my house look like new. What was best was the professionalism. They picked up everything, made the clean, and then put everything back to where it belonged. Get in touch with Curtis today. Call him at 225-933-7068 or find Hydro Wash on Facebook.
All right, buddy. Make it a good shot.
Oh, yeah. Sticking the roof in.
For a hole in your roof, for a whole new roof, go roof. Roof, roof, go roof.
Hey, Greg, roof up?
Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Roof's up. Beautiful roof every single time.
True. True.
All right, welcome back here. Jordy Culotta Show. As always, we are brought to you by our friends over at Hughes Mechanical. It is air conditioning. You need your AC right now, people. If you need it serviced, if you need it to keep keeping up. I think today is supposed to be the 116-degree day. Is that right? Didn't they say Thursday it's supposed to be the hottest day of the year? I think it's supposed to feel like 116 outside. So Good luck out there. If you do not have your air condition running, if you have not had it serviced, if you need to get a professional out from Hughes Mechanical, call Travis Hughes and the crew, 225-658-2147. They are a trusted Daikin air conditioning company. You can learn more online at hughesmechanical.net. It's been a while since we've seen our friend Chris Blair. It's been an off season. Last time we saw him, he was coming off the high of a national championship call for the LSU baseball team. It was a long calendar sports year for our guy, but that's a good thing, right? When LSU goes to Omaha, they close it out in the national championship game. He squeezed every day out of last year. He got Tiger football to a bowl game, LSU basketball, and then of course into LSU baseball. And it was a great year. And now gearing up for another football season. He's going to be back with us every Thursday, back on schedule, and we'll always love our conversation with the voice. Good to see you, boss.
Good to see you, man. Is this another? It's good to be to the new undisclosed.
No, we're good now.
Oh, you're good.
We're click here. Yeah, we're loud and proud. Finally,
I'm glad you gave me the address because I would not have been able to find it. But hey, nice new digs and
thank you.
Ready to start another. The merry-go-round's about to crank up. We're going to do it next week.
How does this? What's this time like for you? Are you in prep mode or are you kind of in final vacation mode?
No. I mean, it's prep mode.
Okay.
I mean, just we got so much we got to do. I mean, from what you hear on the air to, getting ready for the teams we face. I mean, I guess summer ended maybe a week before last.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it starts with the beginning of fall camp, and then this year I pushed it back a little bit for maybe the first 2 weeks of fall camp to get going. But, here it is. And I mean, you talk about it all the time, and you've been around a lot longer than LSU. I'm sure the people who watch your show have been around a lot longer than I have. This will be my 8th football season. Wow. But it is LSU right now is the hottest brand in college athletics, and an argument could be made it's the hottest brand in sports. Yeah. I mean, everybody wants a piece of it. When you see an LSU women's basketball jersey, Cardi B's rocking that, and she's rapping about Angel Reed. I mean, everybody is locked into what LSU is doing. And, I think it was summed up best by Alyssa Lang during SEC Media Days. She said, hey, if you don't like LSU, if you're one of those people out there, it's bad time. And it could be a bad time for a long time to come.
Be a bad run,
yeah.
From LSU football standpoint, I get the you spend more time around it, spend more time with him. I get the impression that Brian Kelly feels like they're good. Like he knows deep down, like the way he talks, the way we've covered so many coaches, Les and O, were so protective. Like even if they thought they were good, they would never let you see that. You know what I mean? They were always kind of like, "Oh no, we're hurt." You know what I mean? Like he's not playing. Now it feels so refreshing in the way that he talks about his team, and to me, it's just confidence, right? It's just like, I know I'm good, and we're ready to kick it off.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's he exudes confidence because he knows what he knows. I mean, that's the thing that gives me the optimism is he's a pretty straight shooting guy. I think we've all, even in the media, I think you would, if you talk to most who cover the program, would tell you it's refreshing the way Coach Kelly is open, and he will answer every question. Now, you may not get the answer you want. But I've never gotten the sense that he's dodging a question. I mean, It's just, here's what it is, and whether it's good or bad. But I feel the same way you do in the sense that I think he believes they have the potential to be a special team. Now, there's a lot of variables, as we all know, that go into that, and he's well aware of that, obviously. But, yeah, I get the same kind of sense that, He harped on it in at the SEC Media Day where he said, hey, we saw after the Tennessee loss last year, we saw, hey, we got something here, the way the guys bounced back and made that run on the back end of the season. And then I think the way they just dominated Purdue and Orlando was just a big springboard to set you up for 2023. Now, again, you got to stay healthy. You got to have guys eligible, be able to play. All that stuff has to go into it for a long season. But the fact that I think he feels like now they're developing the players, the position groups, and the team, as opposed to last year where, A, they were trying to fill out a roster, B, they were trying to teach everybody this is how we do it, this is when we do it, where you're supposed to be and how you're supposed to be. You can tell by going to practice and even the scrimmage this past Saturday. I mean, it's very streamlined. It's very efficient. And that's what he strives for. And as he says, there's still room for improvement. Don't get him wrong. But, yeah, I think he feels like they're in a pretty good spot.
Your first season was 2016. The buildup of Fournette that year was huge. He was coming off of that 15 year that was incredible, right? What do you expect from Harold Perkins in year 2? There's not as much buildup in the offseason, but there's an expectation. Like, you start to hear people talking like there is a recognition of he might be defensively the best player in college football. Like, people are saying that out loud now. What do you expect from him in year 2?
I think he's just got the motor that and understands that. And I think, this coaching staff does a very good job in having those conversations about how, look, this is the scrutiny that you'll be under, and this is the praise that you could also get. Just being who you are and playing the way you know how to play. I think in the spring we heard a lot about moving Harold inside. We may see him lined up inside, but from what I've been able to tell, he's going to be able to come at you from just about anywhere, which means for quarterbacks and offensive lines, they're going to try to guess every pre-snap, like, okay, that's where he is, but where is he coming from?
Right.
And I think he's got the skill set, as we saw certainly on display against Arkansas, where he was a one-man wrecking crew. And without him that afternoon, I don't think LSU comes away with a win. That's how big an impact player Harold Perkins Jr. is. But I think, again, just hearing the people that are around him and the coaches that deal with him, he understands those expectations, which to me means it's going to be a hell of a year to watch Harold Perkins Jr.
The identity that has been changed on the offensive line in such a short time, to me, when you talk about Kelly's early success, I would just give you that example, right? And I know that it's rare for the state to produce guys like Campbell Jones, and now here comes Lance Hurd, who looks like he's going to play. The scrimmage last week, in the 2 out of the first 3 drives, he's running with the ones.
We were up in the booth last week watching the scrimmage, and before they even started the drills to begin, the offensive line was down in the end zone, and you didn't need binoculars to see who is that. And that's Lance Hurd. Yeah, he made everybody look small. But your point about the offensive line, I forgot. I lost track. 14, 15 different combinations last year based on injury and based on lack of depth, all of that. But when you think about Brian Kelly, and one of the things I always heard with his success at Notre Dame was the one thing you could count on was an offensive line that was built to be efficient offensively, whatever they were doing, and tight ends.
Yes.
That's what that program was known for. And in very short order, I think where LSU's offensive line this year, by the way, with a very excellent O-line coach, that also helps.
Yes.
And the fact that those tight ends, they were rotating them in. That was the most work I did last Saturday, was trying to keep up with, okay, that's not Maason Taylor. Who is that?
Pimpton, McGowan.
I think that's, when people ask me, what do you think the biggest question mark is? Obviously for this team, way more answers than a year ago going into the year. But, offensive line, knock on wood, that's not one of the questions I have.
Absolutely. Another one is the amount of weapons. We've seen Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Terrace Marshall, all in the same team. But then after that, it was kind of like, all right, that's all you really need. Then you got kind of, like Randy Moss's son at tight end, who's a stud. But this team, you start rattling, it takes you a while to get to Chris Hilton. And they love Chris Hilton.
Yeah.
Before you get to Hilton, you're talking about Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas, Kyron Lacey, Aaron Anderson, all the tight ends, Maason Taylor in these crew. And then I didn't even mention a running back yet.
From a practical standpoint, I'm going to be blessed to have my son work as the spotter in the opening game next Sunday.
Yeah, man.
So he's filling in for the great Jim Nickel. And Saturday during the scrimmage, I said to him, your biggest job and your biggest challenge is going to be keeping up with the rotating receivers. Because as you mentioned, I don't know how many of those names plus more that we're not going to see.
Right.
And I don't know how you keep them off the field. That's understanding that Malik Neighbors is probably your number one guy. But to your point, you can just go through that list of guys that can come in. Like Aaron Anderson, seeing him out wide, but seeing him in the slot. I liked listening to Coach Denbrock earlier this season when he had his press conference. He talked about how their idea, their plan for all positions, but certainly for the receiver room, is to understand not only how to play out wide, but also in the slot so that they can interchange them.
Wow.
And suddenly that gives the defense all kinds of things to think about and have to prepare for. And when you've got that many guys that are that talented, I mean, Jaden Daniels ought to be licking his chops for being able to go out there and get the football to these guys.
How much growth do you expect from him in year 2 of no change? I love the fact that every coach that coaches him comes back, the system, the terminology, his offensive line. What type of growth do you see from him?
You know, I think comfortability is a big part for what you just said, the continuity. I mean, you think about it. Came here last summer from the West Coast, new head coach, new OC, new system, had to fight to get that job, and had to prove himself not only to LSU fans based on what he had done at Arizona State, but, as you said, the coaching staff. And Coach Kelly said it. You know, we don't know everything about Jaden. We got to see what happens. And I just loved watching last year his progression. I mean, we talked about he's not throwing the ball downfield. Why didn't he throw to that guy? He was wide open. And, again, he didn't turn the ball over much. But that was kind of a double-edged sword. And even Coach Kelly said, hey, we got to be a little more aggressive. To me, the Ole Miss game last year was the game where it was like, I think he now realizes he can throw, and these guys can go get it. Like, he's got some talented guys he can trust. And if that is a huge epiphany for him, which I hope it was, then I expect him to take, major leaps forward in being an explosive offense, because he's, I think, going to have an offensive line that will allow him to be upright. It will allow him to run when they want him to run, as opposed to just having to run, like in that opening game last year where he made things happen just scrambling. And he can throw the ball underneath. He can throw it sideline, and I expect to see some stretching the field this year.
Awesome. You mentioned you're a part of your team, and Jim Nichols has been a part of the LSU Sports Radio Network forever. As good of a person as you'll find on this planet, and Jim has dealt with tragic loss, and just thinking about him. But your team going into another season, I know that the beautiful thing about, and I say this all the time, the beautiful thing about Chris Blair is that he's fantastic at his job, but he can work with so many people, and in play-by-play, that's usually, it's personalities. I mean, not everybody just meshes, and it sounds very natural and very, it's very easy to listen to. Your team going into another football season, how does it look?
Yep, it looks the same, which is good. I mean, we talk about continuity with the football team and coaching staff. It certainly makes my job easier. But at the end of the day, you gotta enjoy what you're doing, and you really have to value what every member brings to the table. Like from our engineers who set up the booth and who run things while the game is going on, and people might be shocked to know, although if you watch the in the booth camera, you'll see from time to time that electronics go out and power goes out. But we got a team behind us that most of the time, at least from the radio listener, it's seamless. So those guys do a tremendous job. Doug Morrow, of course, will be back. He's forgotten more football than I'll ever know in my lifetime. And of course, Gordy Rush, who has a great relationship with Coach Kelly, is in the building quite a bit and gets to learn a lot of the insight. I think back to the Alabama game last year. If you ever go back and listen to that final moment, as soon as Jaden crossed the goal line, before we set up, before anybody even thought about what was going to happen, Gordy immediately started saying, "Don't be surprised, guys, if he goes for 2." Wow. And he said it multiple times. And
he was at practice earlier.
And he knew. Yeah. And he knew. And then Nick, of course, got caught off guard. He calls the timeout.
LSU, the old LSU.
And
it's called time.
and we all start thinking at that point, okay, now the element of surprise, they're not on their heels, they'll get a timeout. You still go with it. Which, again, was the right call to make. But Gordy, again, insisted, even while that timeout was going on, guys are going for 2. All they're doing now is simply trying to make sure everybody knows what they're supposed to do. But there was no hesitation. So those are the things that I can't put a price or value on with the guys that I get to work with, not only in football, but Coach Brady in basketball, and obviously Doug and Buzzy and for baseball. So it's lucky. Just a team member, man. The best thing to do is go in and do what you do best, and then let everybody else do what they do best, and then the team usually has success.
That's right, man. Hunt, Marlon, and Brandon on the pre and post.
Yep. Yeah, they'll get things started for us, and it's great to watch those guys because Marlon loves the limelight. Right. Like, he's got no issue.
Right.
But I'm most proud of Brandon Taylor, who was a great player, obviously at LSU.
418.
And that's how well he was thought of by his team. But, the last couple of years, I think Brandon came into his own, believe it or not, during the 20 and 21 seasons when things were not going well. I mean, we all were celebrating after 2019. Sure. But in 20 and 21, I think he really found his voice on the pregame and postgame because he's so passionate about LSU. And that's all we ever asked him to do. Mm-hmm. Hunt kind of keeps everything together and makes sure we get all the breaks and all that stuff, and obviously knows what's going on in and around the program. Marlon's there to, get you pumped up, get you fired up. But Brandon, I think, has really found his voice and speaks and kind of reiterates the passion of fans. And I've had a lot of people come up to me and say, when he was calling out those cornerbacks and the cornerbacks coach, right, on things they did in a particular game, it was personal to him.
Yeah.
And I mean, that stuff, that is a guy who is perfect for that role. So excited to have all three of them back to get us started, and then we'll be in Camping World Stadium, right back where we were in the end of the year.
Back. It's a great broadcast, man. And as we've told you, definitely during baseball season, we were really promoting the in-booth YouTube experience is fantastic. And I learned about that in football. Like I first saw that in football. So it's a great way to stay, hang around the LSU Sports Radio Network.
I don't know why anybody watches it. I mean, honestly, we've been doing it since we did baseball, I think, starting in 2017, just kind of toying with it because the technology was available. And then we brought it to football, and we didn't have it live, but we were filming it in 2019.
That's right.
And then we started in 2020, of course, which was a crazy year because of COVID. But it was I have no idea why people – I'm glad they do. And I guess maybe they're scrolling through social media and they see people jumping up and down like their hair's
football.
And they see Doug Thompson run out of the booth and slam the door. Like, I don't know why they're watching, but we appreciate them doing it. And, it started with football. Baseball was kind of second, but now we're doing it on both.
And for somebody that's a dear friend, I will always love the fact that you gave Hunt Palmer the chance to call LSU baseball, because you can hear that dude when he is there. Like, just from a friend, like when you listen to – I listened for 9 innings with a smile. You're just like, listen to this guy.
Well, it's another one of those where we gave Hunt the opportunity, which we knew he knew baseball. He knows as much as anybody who's not in the clubhouse all the time. He knows more as much as anybody. Right. But now he's kind of moved on. He's Mr. TV guy now. Like, he's over doing the SEC Network Plus. He's left the radio guy, lowly radio guy.
Let me know, Chris.
He waves to us in the booth next door. Right. But I'll never forget. He did a great job in the Georgia game in Jay's first year with the walk-off home run against the Bulldogs. Because I'm losing my mind. It was just a perfect setup for the way to end a game. And he didn't say a word. Like, he just sat there.
Joe bucked it.
And
let it breathe.
When it was over, he said, I almost exploded. Like, his head literally almost popped off his shoulders because it was such a moment. So
I've seen him giving standing ovations in fall ball.
Yeah.
I've seen him like, yeah. I'm like, Jesus.
Yeah. I'm sure he's
October.
I'm sure he's one of the guys that Jay touched on his first year during fall baseball. He was like, we came out there and like, there's people cheering and yelling, and this is a practice, guys, in October.
The football teams are.
Hunt was probably the guy.
Oh, he's definitely there. Definitely there. Good to see you and the family, man.
Yeah, man. Good to be here, man. Congratulations on the not a new venture, but nice new digs, man. I like it.
Thank you, man. We'll see Chris Blair every Thursday. We love the conversation. He'll be on the call. LSU, Florida State, man. Football season is here, 10 days away before LSU and Florida State tee it up in Camping World Stadium over in Orlando. We'll be back and close it out live here from Click Here Digital as we carry on here on this Thursday. If you're in the market for a mortgage lender, you need to start with Doug Bickley and his team. Bickley has built a crew with over 50 years of combined lending experience. They've been in business for over 20 years, and they love helping their clients achieve the American dream of home ownership. They're also key with working in real estate agents and helping their clients getting same-day pre-approval. They average about one buyer a day getting them in a home. If you want to get in touch with Doug and his crew, it's easy. Call them 225 225-214-5154. 225-214-5154. Go see the Bickley team today. They're located on the corner of Coursey Boulevard and Sherwood Forest right here in Baton Rouge. Is it time to wash your house or business? Call the pros at Hydro Wash today. Get them out with their low-pressure, soft-washing cleaning approach. From commercial buildings, rooftops, and residentials, Hydro Wash is ready to get your place shining. Find them on Facebook or call Curtis at 225-933-7068. Take it from me, Hydro Wash came by and made my house look like new. What was best was the professionalism. They picked up everything, made the clean, and then put everything back to where it belonged. Get in touch with Curtis today. Call him at 225-933-7068 or find Hydro Wash on Facebook.
What's up?
What's happening?
Chilling with a couple of cool guys. You?
Chilling and watching some tube. Hold on. Did you do it? Hold on. Did you do it?
Roof's up.
Hold on.
Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Hold on. Hold on. Hold on.
Beautiful roof every single time.
True. True.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Are you looking for sound financial advice? Then get in touch with Daniel Newman of Edward Jones. You can call him today at 225-261-8262 or email him daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. If you're planning for retirement, saving for college for children or grandchildren, or just looking for sound investment opportunities, get in touch with Daniel today, 225-261-8262, located on Magnolia Square Drive in Central. Daniel Newman of Edward Jones.
You can't put the cart before the horse. That'd be like, will you marry me?
Do I know you?
Never sign a contract with a roofer before he gets on your roof. Call Go Roof instead. We offer a free, no-obligation inspection. A beautiful roof every single time. Bobby, goes in the front.
Roof, roof, Go Roof.
Belmont Stakes Race Training. I'm sticking to roofing.
Roof, roof, Go Roof.
Kentucky Derby Training. I'm sticking to roofing.
Roof, roof, Go Roof.
Red Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz.
We're all from different places and backgrounds. We've each experienced our own versions of life, but in the end, we're all on the same team. I'm part of that team, along with these players in purple and gold.
Sean Buddha, Malik Neighbors, Miles Frazier,
Kyron Lacy,
Greg Brooks.
Whether on the field or in the courtroom, your team matters.
So join our team.
Make a difference.
Bet. Let's get it done.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by A-Bears Lawn Maintenance. Commercial or residential, A-Bears Lawn Maintenance is ready to work. A-Bears can tackle all your homeowners association requirements. Call Blake at 225-485-8022. A-Bears Lawn Maintenance.
In a wreck, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys is ready to go to work for you. Come meet your team.
I'm your intake specialist. I coordinate your case and connect you with your attorney and paralegal.
That's us, your legal team.
Here you go.
Thanks. And we'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve.
I'm your settlements and disbursement manager, and I'm here to get you paid on time.
I'm attorney Gordon McKernan. Put our team to work today. Just call us. Get it done.
Hey Tiger fans, when you're traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, make sure to visit Tom and Wright Granning at Go-Mart and On The Go Deli, where you can fill up your tank and your belly. Go-Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you may need on your trip. Located at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left. Also stop by Wardo's Po' Boys at 309 North Broadway on the beautiful Natchez Bluff, where the Po' Boys are so good you'll swear you're in Cajun country.
All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, as always built by R&B Builders and brought to you daily by our friends Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. Remember, over at Barker's Brother Plumbing and Works, no social media with our crew. No website with our crew. They're that confident, and guess what? They got work for years. Get in touch with Jude, my guy. You can easily call him at 225-776-7815. 225-776-7815. Or the phone number, 776-2431 will get you directly to Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. Remember, you mentioned the Culotta Show. You save yourself 15%. We will have a special segment with Barker Brothers coming up this football season. Speaking of football season, thanks for everybody who stopped by today, man. What a cool show. Here on this Thursday. We had Wilson Alexander, who stopped by from The Advocate and NOLA.com, who broke the unfortunate story about Maason Smith yesterday, which I can't even, I still can't digest it. I still can't fathom it. I cannot believe that Maason Smith is ineligible here on this Thursday going into next season, to next week. It's just, It does not have a logical explanation at anywhere you would turn. I mean, this is look. Go back and listen to the front of the show. I'm not going to get back into it. It's just.
Did you know Johnny Manziel did the same thing and got suspended half a game against Rice?
Stewie.
Makes it sound worse, but
I mean.
Manziel was making $30K an autograph. I'm sure Maason Smith didn't make $30K for an autograph.
Way. He didn't make $1,000. I promise you. I mean, like if you read it, it was a ragtag event. I mean, just a couple. It was like 5 days before NIL went into. Mm-hmm. So I mean, like Maason. But I mean, like bro, don't worry about it. I mean, like this is all retroactive stuff. You know what I mean? We're good, right? No, he can't play against Florida State. Say what? I mean, man, I just, like supreme anxiety. I mean, like I am rattled.
This is a great
rattled.
This is a great part of our Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works segment. Shit happens.
Shit happens, man. Brought to you by Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. They'll clean your pipes. 225-776-2431. Take a pipe to the NCAA's head. Who runs that place? Didn't they hire like some politician?
I think it's like a.
I mean, Emmert ducked and ran. They gave him $2 million to get out of there. I mean, like the place is a criminal. It's a cartel. It is a criminal organization. They've got so much money that they'll pay the guy that brought them like utter embarrassment, just like $2.5 million to get out of here after we paid you 10 to do nothing. I mean, there are so many old white men behind the scenes that are just raking in cash for doing nothing other than telling Maason Smith he can't play because he signed an autograph 2 years ago and collected some change off of it. Where in your companies handbook does it say if somebody signs an autograph that they miss a game? It's not anywhere. You can't find that anywhere. Oh, really? So how did you get to the form of punishment? Oh, we just had a couple of drinks after work last Wednesday. You know, I mean, we're just cocktailing downtown. Spinning a little whiskey. You know, after a day of playing golf. Went to the country club for the day, finished up at the 19th hole. Oh, me, Bob, and Bill sat down at the table and decided, you know what? Maason Smith's not playing against Florida State. Why? Just because. Because we can. Bring us another scotch. We just messed with another kid. I mean, just disgusting organization, man. I mean, like this was a great opportunity for Michigan football and LSU football to tell them to shove it. Like, nah, nope. Hey, Jim Harbaugh, you're suspended the first 3 games of the season. No, I'm not. I'm coaching. Hey, LSU, Maason Smith can't play against Florida State. Yeah, he is. He's starting. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Because if they want to get into a PR war, guess who's going to get pummeled? Guess who's going to get land-blasted? The NCAA. They could pick a fight with anybody. They could pick a fight with Rick Pitino. I mean, they could pick a fight with who's the most egregious in NCAA sports right now that's just an all-out cheat. I mean, who's the poster for cheating right now in NCAA? Maybe it's vanished because cheating's done above board. I mean, Will Wade. Is that who we're going? Okay, fine. Will Wade would crush the NCAA in a PR war. Obviously, he'd clean up in Louisiana, but around the country. Get into a public relations war with the NCAA. I'm telling you, the NCAA would lose a PR war to a Mexican cartel. Like, really? Like cartel on cartel? I'm going with them. Maybe that's a little dramatic. But you get what I'm saying. It's the same place. It's the same thing. I mean, just bullying and crushing everybody and taking all their stuff and getting all the money. Getting all the money. I just can't believe it, man. I can't. I mean, this is some Dick Vitale, Tim Brando, like Pat Forty, Dan Wolken or Dan Wetzel. Which one? One of them's cool. One of them's not. I think Wolken's cool. Wetzel's not. Let me make sure. No, sorry, opposite.
I don't think anybody in the NCAA is cool. But the president of the NCAA is the Massachusetts governor.
Wetzel cool.
Charlie Baker. That's the president.
That's just what they need, a politician.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Bring the politician in.
Tell him to hurry up.
Wetzel's cool. Wolken's a dork. Nerd. Maason Smith is not playing against Florida State. I mean, God, good Lord. Good Lord. Give me a break, man. I mean, over an autograph in 2021. Ugh. I wish somebody would just say, man, he's playing, man. That's right. I got it. You got me. Wolken sucks. Wetzel's awesome. All right. Thanks for being here today. What a cool show, man. It's cool to see Gordon and his crew. Good to see our old guy, Taylor O'Brien. What a blow up. This guy. I mean, last year, O'Brien's coming around. We're giving him, we're helping him out with the credentials for practice, football. Guy puts us on the map as far as content goes. I mean, like, I had no idea what we were getting into with Taylor. I mean, like this was, he reminded me so much of me in the sense of, like, he wasn't taking no for an answer, right? Like, that's, I mean, like, I tell you the story all the time. Like, Hannah Griffin, Gordy used to call me the stalker because they would just do events, and I'd pop up and be like, put me on the radio. And they're like, dude, we can't. We can't do it. I'd just show up the next day, put me on the radio. Like, I mean, this guy, bro, you're scaring us. Sweet. We'll scare the hell out of you until you hire me. Right? O'Brien was the same way. I mean, the guy was just blowing you up, calling you. He'd have Jordan Arsamont call me. He's like, man, I got my guy calling you. What's the deal? I'm like, what do you mean? What's going on? The guy that works the shifts down in Fouchon? The guy that works down like on the boats? Like, he's like, yeah, bro, the guy's like a content genius. I'm like, all right, well, I mean, look, here, let him do his work. I mean, like the first thing I saw, I'm like, oh my God, what are you doing? He's like, I'm trying to get out of what I'm doing now to come do this full time. I'm like, okay, well, I mean, here, man, like here's an LSU football credential, like go do work. And, next thing you know, the biggest content creator in the South, or one of them, Gordon McKernan's like, I want that guy. Like, I'm hiring him. Now, if you see Gordon, you see Taylor. All the content you see coming out from Gordon, that's all Taylor. I mean, the dude has taken a work ethic and a dream and turned it into a lifestyle in 6 months. And everybody I talk to that's in the content game ask me if I can put him in touch with him. So, congratulations to Taylor O'Brien being a part of the G Squad, and really, not only that, like bringing the G Squad to another level from a content standpoint. Same thing he did for us. I mean, make no mistake about it. We began to get credibility and see our brand start to get into different areas when our content was just kicking everybody's ass. And not what I was saying. I'm talking about the videography of Saturdays and players. And I mean, a lot of those interviews we were doing in-house, a lot of that was because the content and the graphics and the videos were coming from at the Culotta show, and they were like, hey, man, that's awesome. Like, can we hang? Like, sure. Can you enter it? Yeah. So, great stuff, man. It was good to see all those guys. Good to see Gordon and his crew. The people over here at Click Here Digital, how fired up they were for him to be here, man. I mean, Stewie and I looked around, and we're in the right place, man. We're in the right spot. It's been a hell of a hill we've been climbing for the last 2.5 years, but you look around, we got to a little flat part of the mountain. We're not at the top by any means. We still got a long, long way to go, but we've hit a little plain in the mountain where you look around and you say, hey, cuz, okay, all right, we're in the right spot, man. We got a great team around us. We got people who are motivated and want to take this show to another level, and the team over at Click Here Digital is just a dream. Really, I mean, it's 150 people that are experts in digital marketing. We live in a digital world. I mean, we've been throwing stuff at the wall for the last 2.5 years and falling like ass backwards into people like Taylor O'Brien, where you're like, hey, man, we hit one. Like we hit a lottery. We got one. Right? I mean, it's a bunch of trial by error, a bunch of, throwing stick and what works. This doesn't work. That doesn't work. He can't work. She can't work. He works. They work. Click Here Digital and the Jordy Culotta show works. I mean, a week in, what are we, 5 shows in? It's 60 people outside the door this morning. All of them with expertise in something. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, marketing, digital marketing plans, SEO. Some of that stuff may not mean a lot to you. If it does, get in touch with me. I can put you in touch with them. Jordy at clickheredigital.com. But more important for us, Stewie and I are looking at each other. All that stuff is now a resource for this show. I mean, it's exciting, man. We appreciate you being here from the start to now. Everybody that's been a part of it, we always appreciate it. We're excited about tomorrow, and we're excited about the future. Come back with us. We'll be here at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, talking more, getting ready for LSU football. Hopefully, Gordon McKernan has done something from a Superman standpoint. We're going to flash the G spotlight up into the air tonight and see if he can put his cape on and get Maason Smith eligible for Game 1. It doesn't look good. He's fighting against the old suits, the old money, the blue bloods, man. It is just everything we've always hated about the NCAA is haunting LSU today. Enjoy your day. Hit that like button, share button, comment button. Remember, high school football starts tonight. Remember our friends over at Ochsner. If you're dealing with pain, if you're dealing with injuries on Saturday morning, their clinic will be open over at the Grove campus over on Bluebonnet. Ochsner.org/sportsmed is how you get in touch. Terrible story in the bigs. Shohei Ohtani will not pitch again this season. He tore his UCL. That sucks. All right, have a great day. We'll be back with you tomorrow. Like, share, comment. Built by R&B Builders.